Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. There's no pilot inside this helicopter. It's 2022, so let's face it, we're used to seeing all types of vehicles operate themselves. From cars to boats, drones, even motorcycles. But some people might say there's something a little ominous about seeing a military-grade helicopter flying without a pilot. This is part of a project from Lockheed Martin's subsidiary, Sikorsky, and DARPA. Now, if you're not familiar with DARPA, it's a research and development agency for the US Department of Defense. And according to DARPA, this marked the first time a Black Hawk helicopter flew without anyone on board. It took off, flew for 30 minutes over a US Army base in Kentucky before safely landing on its own. So what made this possible? It's called ALIAS, an acronym for Air Crew Labor in Cockpit Automation System. And to find out how it works, I caught up with Sikorsky's Director of Innovations, Igor Cherepinski.
The way you sort of program this machine isn't by putting in waypoints like you would with a drone. This isn't fly here, 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 and there. You're actually explaining a mission. There's a language that was developed where you're telling the aircraft, hey, I have a cargo mission. And there's a set of cargo over here, and it's this kind of cargo, and it needs to end up over there. And this is when I need it. And then the aircraft goes out, figures out what the flight rules are, what the winds are, and shows you a plan to say, hey, here's how I would do this. And you, again, as a human being, have the final authority to modify it. But machines doing a lot of that, intermediate thinking sort of thing for you. This is inherently what's known as a fly-by-wire system, where mechanical controls are completely removed from the aircraft. So even in piloted mode, the pilots are flying the same computer, if you will, that's flying the aircraft when no one's on board. And that makes this aircraft easy to fly. I could teach you to fly this aircraft in 15 minutes.
Now, Igor was very clear when I talked to him. This isn't any sort of artificial intelligence. The system relies on cameras, sensors, and algorithms to identify and then avoid obstacles. And this wasn't the first time we've seen ALIAS in action. DARPA demonstrated it last year in a supervised test with a safety pilot on board.
Engaging autonomous auto start.
A lot of you are probably thinking, if helicopters can fly their own missions now, are we on a path to making pilots obsolete?
Working hand in hand with the Army to modernize Black Hawk, to incorporate new technology, new capabilities to create the Black Hawk of the future. And one critical technology of all these things is autonomy. And that brings me here today.
Are we really going to fly this optimally piloted autonomous Black Hawk in Connecticut from 300 miles away right here in Washington, D.C.? And the answer is a resounding yes, we're going to.
You're going to see the aircraft come up to a stabilized hover, and this is going to simulate contested logistics operations where we would have a ground crew hooking up a sling load to the aircraft.
And this aircraft is holding position remarkably well.
This optimally piloted autonomous Black Hawk in Connecticut from 300 miles away right here in Washington, D.C. And the answer is a resounding yes, we're going to.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
We should warn you that it shows the moment of impact between the aeroplane and the helicopter, which you may find distressing. So here's the video. So the video is from airport security cameras. The American television network CNN got hold of it, and it shows two clear angles of the collision between the plane and the Army helicopter near the Ronald Reagan National Airport in the US capital, of course. And
Connecticut from 300 miles away right here in Washington, D.C. And the answer is a resounding yes. We're going to